right, here we are again. Welcome back to paradise. Right? All the cliches. Let's get this party started. All my favorite ones. Thanks for coming back. So I want to talk about a term. This stuff all fits together. So I hope you guys, if you take your notes, if you listen, if you process this stuff, and I'll try to use, not I'll try, I will use the same terminology throughout these because all these talks, whether it's in a series, whether they're separate, they all link together, right? And that's the important thing, right? What's the connectedness of all this? How's this fit into my ecosystem? How do I create something that's best for the people I serve, my clients, my patients, my customers? And then how do I also create something that serves them so that it can serve me, the business, the personal side, right? Because we gotta create something to take care of people we serve. Then we can hire the right people into that, and then we can have success for everyone. Not until all those happen. So as you've created something, and as you're looking at how do I optimize this, how do I do what's best for the people I serve, so that I can deliver greater value to them and me, my team, my business, and the asset I'm growing in my bank account can benefit in that order. When you're taking a step back, and by the way, we're going to cross the lines here, which I love, and we're going to go back and forth with the same exact things we do with the people we serve in our world of physiotherapy, right? And I love using this analogy because it fits perfectly. When you're thinking of, I've got to create and I got to start putting together the systems and processes to scale this thing so that I can grow it. And then when I want to, I can exit, right? And the best way to do that is that arrive, pay, and stay mindset. So therefore, how do I get more people to arrive, pay, and stay, right? So again, all the terminology. When you do that and you take a step back, what you're looking for is the greatest potential in your business. And potential is a current state, right? And the gap between that current state and the future state that you want. Think about when a patient calls your clinic. This is no different. They tell us the future state they want, right? And then we make sure they understand that we've helped people just like them get to that future state, and they agree to that first visit and they arrive and they pay so that they can meet with the expert who will help bridge the gap of that potential, right? So they tell you that future state, you take them through an evaluation and determine the current state, and then you bridge that gap, a plan of care. By the way, we're like 2 minutes into this. This is the fucking template for success, for your patients, for your business, for all of it. And this is what I help people do. And this is the way I want you to look at your business so that you can bridge that gap. You should always be looking for the greatest potential, right? And with our clients, what do? We look at the bigger picture, and then we try to fill that gap in step by step, phase by phase, right? We're going to do this first, then we're going to do this, then we're going to do this. And when we're done, we'll be here. And you tell them, I've done this with other people. I've helped people just like you. I understand this journey you're on. And by the way, the work I do, my research, right? All this other stuff I do is to help people bridge this exact gap. And what you're doing, that gap is the potential. And you're always looking to leverage, right, that potential. So current state to future state, that gap in between we measure is potential, right? And that's what we say, wow, so much potential, right? We see this current state and we hear or we place someone where we think they should be, and we say, wow, so much potential. Now they got to bridge that gap. How big is that gap? You know, and let's think about that. The more you are like, wow, they've got a lot of potential, it's usually a shorter gap, right? Versus, wow, there's potential there, longer, bigger gap, right? And this is the way we got to look at your business. And this is how I want you to think about it, right? And the way we fill that gap in our business, let's go back to the business side, right? So I take a step back. I want to make sure I'm creating something that can deliver today, money in the bank, right? Short term, that at the same time will deliver that bigger asset at a time of exit. And again, a time of exit, Could be you turn it over to someone else. You sell it to an employee. You sell it to a business. You do all kinds of shit. So again, seeing your exit is the first step. So you know that that's where you want to get to. I'm not too worried about that right now. It's a little, it's not a very bright light at the end of the tunnel. But if I look at this business currently and see where the potential is in my current state, then I can start to fill in that gap and start to build, right? The first phase, the second phase, the third phase. Then, right, by the time I decide what my exit looks like, I've created a bigger asset and I've got a bigger takeaway and I've got a bigger result. Remember, we focus on the process, not the result. This is the process. So we identify the potential and then we build out the process. We bridge it. And this is where the arrive, pay, and stay mindset comes in, because what people do next is they just go all fucking willy-nilly on you. I did it, by the way. I did it. Everybody else is doing it, right? Okay, we got to bridge this gap. Let's get cancel rates down. And then we go to our providers and we start yelling at them about cancel rates. But this is where you got to take a bigger step back and go, how do we achieve this, right? Again, just like with your patient. So if you don't understand your client's journey in your business, you won't start at the right place to fill this potential, to meet this potential. If you don't understand who you're serving, it's going to be really hard to fill in that potential. If you don't understand the experience you want to create, it's going to be harder. So step one is to look for this potential. Step two is to understand how to start to fill that potential in so that you can gap it. And then you become the guy who has, or girl or person that has, so much. Oh, look at them. They have so much potential. Wow. They have a lot of potential, right? Shorter gap to fill. That's when you start to understand the business template for success, your patient's journey, the systems and processes for the experience you want to create. Then you don't have to do things over and over and over like so many of us did, like I did for 10 years, 10 years plus. So this potential in your business is the gap you want to fill. And you always want to be looking for this as where the work needs to be done, right? And again, I'm going to caution you in that if you're looking at, I'm working with a couple of clients currently, and we're coming up with some end of course of care, right? A month after people complete a course of care, they're getting bills that they're calling pissed off about. Again, we got to address this now. And if we address it properly, it will not be an issue later, but we have to understand where it fits in this patient's journey so we can fill in this stopgap, make it end, but make sure it fits in the bigger picture, in that experience you want to create. There's a lot in here, man. Yet I'd argue it's all in here. And where this all starts is you taking a step back, right? So I got people coming into business. Cool. What's my arrival rate, right? I got people arriving. Okay. What's your retention rate? Retention rate could be completed plans of care. It could be drop-offs. It could be, right? Then what's cancels, right? All go into retention rate. Then the next step, right? How are these happy paying customers turning into more referrals, more business, right? That's where all the potential is. And if you understand this journey and you think your potential is marketing, you better be able to answer all those second, third, fourth, and fifth steps first. So again, as you take a step back and go, we got more potential for marketing. I talked about this in an episode before. You got to make sure you've maximized and optimized your current spending, right? The team spending, the marketing spending. Are we getting everything out of it? Because the greater potential is not in increasing marketing. It's in maximizing retention. So when you take a step back, or when I show up, I go, look, here's your potential. And it's actually not your marketing. It's your lead to arrived rate. It's your eval to agreed upon plan of care rate. It's your agreed upon plan of care to actually complete a course of care rate. So just like you're going to do an objective exam with a patient to assess their current state, right? That's what I do with people. And that's what you should be able to do if you understand the steps and what metrics you should be looking at. Right? So the potential in your business is really only 4 or 5 metrics. And if you understand those metrics, then you know where to go to focus. If you understand what those metrics are telling you, and they're not visits, they're not units billed, my friends. So understanding this potential, understanding you are closing the gap on potential to increase money today, right? So like I was saying, that billing problem, you solve that problem, makes you money today. But now you have another step in a client's journey where you can show your work that gets you greater value at your exit. It's going to put more money in the bank today. By the way, it's going to drive up your top line revenue, which in turn is going to drive your bottom line, which is going to make your finances look better. But now you're going to be able to show your work, right? Even though this happened today and it was a stopgap for today, you did it right because you understood your patient's journey. So the potential here was awesome. We're going to solve this problem today, have more money in the bank tomorrow, but also be growing a bigger asset because now we can show the work because we understand where this system fits. And again, if you're having trouble understanding this, just take it back to treating a patient and making adjustments during that plan of care. They come in, I feel worse. They come in, I feel better, right? What are we doing? We keep looking at that plan of care. We keep looking at that final destination. We keep looking at where they started and where we are today, right? That's what you got to be able to do. And that's the work, again, that's the work I do with people. The very first thing I do with everybody and go, this is all awesome. So if we got on the phone together, I'd ask you the future state you want to achieve. We have to know that. Then what do we have to know next? I just told you the current state. So during this process of understanding if we can do work together, by the way, there's no different than a PT evaluation. I want to know the future state you want, and then we have to measure the current state. And I can show you your current state in one 30-minute phone call, just like you can show people their current state in one 30-minute, 45, 50-minute evaluation. Then you go, cool, this is where you want to get to. This is where you are currently. Here's a plan I drew out. You want to do this? It's funny, the more I talk about this, the more that's what I'm doing. So we've identified that potential, future state, current state. Here's the gap. Here it is. And I put it in front of you. Here's the gap. Here's the work it'll take to fill that gap. You in, you out. Right? That's what we do with patients during the eval. And that gap is the potential. How big is this potential? Wow, look how close you are. I share all the time. Most of my clients are about 80% of the way there. By the time we look at the future state they want, where they are currently, I'm like, fuck, you're way closer than you thought you were. Other people, it's like, whew, got some work to do. You want to do it? Potential, man. Potential, potential, potential. That's the gap between your future state and your current state. And what you don't want to do, and I'll caution you against this, and I said it already, is not understand all these other things I said, because then you'll start doing just one-off things. Okay, let's fix the cancel rate. But if you don't understand your client's journey in your business and who you're serving, you're just going to be chasing your tail all the time. And then when you're spending money to get people in the door, and the numbers aren't really changing, so you increase your marketing, more expenses just to maintain the status quo, that's going to impact your bottom line. And your bottom line goes down. And now the price you can demand for your clinic is going down, all because you were chasing after a result without understanding the process. Take a step back. We look at that potential. We understand the journey. Here's the future state. Here's the current state. I've helped people just like you. Let's map this thing out. Let's do it in the right order. So we're not chasing our tail and constantly every other day waking up going, I feel worse, I feel better, I feel worse, I feel better. That's status quo. We don't want that. So make sure you're identifying this potential in your business and then understanding, where do I do the work? Because within that potential, right, there's greater potential to make that, like phase one, let's just call it, right? Then when we look at phase one, okay, where's the potential to make the greatest impact in phase one most quickly, right? Where's the greatest impact in the next phase? So we're constantly breaking down this long-term potential into shorter phases. And within those phases, okay, where's the potential, right? What's the one that's going to make the biggest impact? Boom. That's where we start. Boom, ready to go. Next phase. And you see this thing moving forward. So at the same time, your revenue is going up, right? good things are happening, the measurables, right? Because we have the metrics of success, just like you do with a patient. What are we looking at, right? A couple objective measurements, couple subjective measurements. All those things are clicking. Cool, we're moving forward. So we have that upward trajectory. So you heard just about every term I've ever used, right? Arrive, pay, and stay, patient life cycle, patient experience. Now I want you to think about potential. Where's the potential in all this? Where's the potential in your business to apply these principles? Where's the greatest potential to move you closer to that future state while at the same time impacting your bank account? Awesome. Cheers, all. Thanks for listening.